Hey everybody, this is Clarence from TwoItems.com with a new tutorial series for you. This series is called How to Set Up a VMware Home Lab, and it sounds a little bit vague, but this is going to cover a vast amount of products within VMware's bucket. So sit back, relax, subscribe, and I'm going to walk everyone through exactly how to set up a plethora of VMware products. So do subscribe and look for more videos in the future. But today we need to get down the basics, and the basics is the ESXi Hypervisor. And today we're going to install 6.0 Update 1. First of all, what we're going to be doing is downloading the ESXi 6.0 Update 1 ISO installer from myvmware.com. Right here I have the link that's provided in the show notes and also on this slide. Just go to this location and you'll find the ISO located there. You may have to sign up for a free VMware account, and then you can download the ISO image and burn it to a DVD, or just simply remember where you downloaded it to, because we'll use it later when we create our virtual machine using VirtualBox. Then once we load that image into VirtualBox, or you put that DVD that you just burnt into your physical piece of hardware, your test box, you're going to boot off the DVD and just simply follow the prompts. And at some point you'll have to give that new ESXi server identity by configuring the network settings, which is pretty simple, and I'll show you that. And then after we have the ESXi server started up, we'll have to install the vSphere client. And that vSphere client is what we're going to use to log into the ESXi server to configure all of the features that the ESXi hypervisor will present to us. So, and after that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the configuration page or tab of the ESXi server, because on all these videos that I see for the ESXi installations, they never go over the configurations tab, and it's real important to know exactly what's in there and available to you. Alright, but first of all, what I want to show you is how your system is going to look after you actually install the hypervisor. Now, first of all, what is a hypervisor? The hypervisor is nothing more than a virtual machine monitor. Some people say VMM. It's just a piece of computer software or firmware, some type of software that you load on your system that allows you to run one or more virtual machines. That's why they call it a virtual machine monitor. And your physical hardware will be considered your host, and your virtual machines will be considered guests. So in this diagram here, you can see the Dell, HP, or you can have any other piece of hardware that you have, physical hardware. In my case, I'm going to be using VirtualBox, so this blue box at the bottom will be my VirtualBox. I'm going to install the hypervisor, and then on top of that we'll install the Windows virtual machines, Linux virtual machines, and any other virtual machines that are supported. So basically this structure will allow you to share all the resources on your underlying physical hardware. So that's what the hypervisor allows you to do. So let's get started. We're going to install or create our virtual machine, and you will be skipping this step if you have a physical machine, a spare machine that you can just insert the DVD inside of the CD tray and just boot off of that. You don't need to do this, but for people who are going to be following along, you need to create a virtual machine. And this is always good to learn anyway, so it's another nice little thing to learn, because you can do all types of things with Oracle VirtualBox. So we're going to create this, choose other, unknown 64-bit. We want to give it at least 6 gig. Let's give it 6 gig. Create, and I want to create my drive, which is a VDI. That's just the default. I'm going to take the defaults, and this basically just means dynamically allocated, and the fixed physical hard drive size means if I choose this and I make this hard drive 11 gig, it's going to automatically allocate 11 gigabytes on the hard drive right now. If I choose dynamic, it's only going to allocate what it needs right now, and then it will be able to grow to the 11 gig that I allocate. So we're going to choose dynamic, and this is the file size. So I'm going to boost this up, not to a, we'll make it like 20. right around that. It's fine, not a big deal. So there we have our, see how fast and easy that was. Now we're going to go inside of the settings of this virtual machine. We won't need anything within these tabs. We're going to go to System. This is our memory that we just set up. The processor, VMware's ESXi 6.0 requires at least 2 CPUs, so we're going to bump that up to 2. Display, we don't need to do anything with the display, but we do need to pick up our hard drive. So we're going to choose the CD-ROM here. I'm going to come over here and choose my VMware disk, but you're going to surf to your hard drive, surf out on your network and pick up the drive, pick up the ISO that you downloaded. See, this is the VMware Hypervisor install. I downloaded it the other day, and then we're going to go down. We don't really care about that. And the networking, I don't want to do NAT, I want to do bridge, because I want this box to appear to be on the exact same network alongside of all my other systems on my network. So I'm going to do bridging, and I'm going to choose this Intel Pro 1000 card, because when I tried to install 6.0 with this guy using this VirtualBox, the PC Nets, it failed miserably, and I don't feel like having to redo this video. So we're going to, and I want to add a second network card now. We won't be using this right away, but maybe in the future I'll need a second card for something to play around with, and I want to add it now at this point. So we'll do that. We don't care about serial ports and USB. We don't really care about that. We're not going to do any shared folders, and that's pretty much it. Now we're going to start up this virtual machine. We'll move him out the way, and as soon as I start the virtual machine, it's going to go directly into the install. I'm going to press enter. Let's get this, press enter again so I can start the installation process. And during the installation process, I will jump through just so I won't bore you and make you have to watch this yellow line scroll across the screen. Okay, now we're at the installer stopped at the first prompt, and what you're going to see here is the welcome to the ESXi installation prompt. Let's continue. And one quick note, if you're using the DVD or the CD, you won't have to worry about this, but if you're using the VirtualBox, in order to send the function keys like F1, F5, or F11 as it states here to accept and continue past this license agreement page, you have to hit down either the function FN key, hold that down, or if you have a Windows, the Windows logo key, hold that down, then press F11. That will send the F11 key stroke to that particular virtual machine. If you do not do that, if you press F11, it's just simply going to put the machine in maximize mode, because F11 is to basically tell your window to go into full screen mode. So just a little tip for you. So we're going to continue. I'm going to hit enter, and we want US as default keyboard, and I'm going to give this virtual machine a password. There we go. Now it's going to go out and start gathering some information. Probably will get a warning. Yeah, so here's the warning here about my hardware virtualization. I'm not using a real machine, so it's detecting some discrepancies in my configuration. Once again, I'm going to hold down that Windows key and press F11, and the install will continue. Okay, the installation was successful, and a reboot is required to complete. So I'll return shortly as soon as the system finishes rebooting. Okay, the system is finished rebooting, and now we're at the default login screen. What you're seeing here is basically information about the server, the version, the build number, and your IP address information. We're going to now log in. Press F2, log in for our password, and then we're going to configure, like I said, the networking. Let's go down to configuration, configure network management network. I'm just going to go ahead and show you that we do have the 2 network cards. IP4, we're not going to change any of that because all that looks great, but I will disable, and I'm pressing enter in order to disable that. So just at the bottom of the page you'll see press enter for OK. So all I did was hit the space bar to select the option that I wanted, press enter to set it. I'm pressing enter to go inside of here, press the space bar to select use the DNS server address, host name, and we're going to use a different one. So we're going to type in ESXi-1 and the DNS suffix. We don't really care about that. No, that's what it is. Then press escape, and it's going to ask me to apply the settings, and because I've changed IPv6, it's going to want to reboot again. So I'll be back after it reboots. Okay, the system has returned. You can see now we have the correct IP address and our DHCP set up. So now we're done configuring this system. We'll go to, now if you try to go to your server using the IP address, which is 21, what you're going to get after you say it's okay, you understand that the certificate, then you're going to get this landing page. So your new ESX server will serve this landing page to assist you in downloading the vSphere client and other tools, and do some other work on your system. So that's what we need to do now, is download that vSphere client with Windows. That was the next step. So on our Windows VM, we're going to, we've already, for the sake of time, we've already downloaded and installed the VMware vSphere client. We'll log in. We're going to get this install certificate. I usually check that off to keep that, to prevent that prompt from occurring every time you log in. And once again, it's going to warn you, like I said before, that your evaluation license will expire in 60 days. But it's not a big deal because we won't need 60 days. Otherwise, the system that you have here now is basically really basic. Most of the features will just fall off and get this automatically disabled in 60 days. And you can still use it and put VMs on it, but all of the VMware vMotioning and things, all those options and features will just automatically turn off. So what we're going to do now is, like I said, typically in most videos they end it here because you now have a working, ESXi server. But what I'm going to do is go a step further, and I'm going to show you guys what a lot of these options mean, because there's a lot of information in here that I think is basically pretty useful. Now, in my work, I work with VMware all day long, and I have very expensive servers that I manage and take care of. So when this health status option, I'm clicking on the configuration tab. I have my host highlighted, and I clicked on the configuration tab, and now we're walking down each option. So the health status here just basically gives you the health status of your particular hardware or physical box. In my case, I'm using VirtualBox, so this information is kind of what it is, right? But if you were using a physical box, it will show you the health status of your physical machine. Then it's going to give you information about your processors, how many sockets, how many cores, logical processors, if you have hyper-threading turned on, the manufacturer, all good information to have here, the memory. And this is where you would set up and configure all of your data stores. So if you had NFS network shares, you would walk down this, or you walk down here and configure all of your network shares. Or if you have iSCSI, you would do that here. Right now, it's only showing the local storage that we created, and it's 13 gigabyte free. Networking, this is the network card. We can also configure the networking here. Storage, this is if you have storage adapters. If you needed special storage adapters for iSCSI or anything else, they would appear here. Network adapters, right now, remember, I configured 2 network adapters. They're showing up right here. And advanced settings, I don't really use this often, but you can do all types of magic with pass-throughs. So if you have like different devices you need to directly patch to your VM. So say for example you have a VM and you need him to have access to a tape drive. You could go through here and make sure that the tape drive was automatically pinned and passed, and that data, that I/O, would pass directly to that VM that manages the tape drive or something like that. That's just a weird example, but you could do something like that. Power management, you can go through here and configure all of your power management if you have things like or if you low power to custom, however you want your power management laid out for this particular system. And this is the license features that I was telling you about. Right now I'm licensed to January the 9th. After that, the majority of these features will basically become disabled, all these features here, and you can Google a lot of them and figure out exactly what they do. Right now, and this is the time server. The time server is incorrect, so let's fix that now. There we go. DNS and all this stuff we saw on the CUI, but you can also configure it here as well. Authentication servers, this is good for if you have an Active Directory server on your network and you want your ESXi server to authenticate via Active Directory. You can do that here. Startup shutdown is something I often use. I always make sure this is enabled, and my critical VMs are at least placed into the any order or the automatic startup. What this means is if your system dies in the middle of the night for some crazy reason and it powers back on automatically, or if someone comes into your lab and they power on your system after a shutdown, your virtual machines that you have designated in this list will automatically start up. You can set the time when you want them to start up, and the order and things like that. Very good to have enabled. And the swap file location, very rarely change this at all. And the security profile. Firewall settings, I never mess with this at all. I don't ever change the firewall settings, but they're there for you to tinker with if need be. The settings, the services, I also often tweak or enable the ESXi shell and the SSH. If I need to get into this machine remotely, I'll enable that for some reason, but they're the only two services I ever touch. The host cache, this is there just for extra memory management. Nowadays, if you have SSD drives, the SSD drives can be used to assist with swapping. So it's like a memory management, caching. It's not used for I/O, data I/O. It's memory management caching that you can enable and set up if your VMs start swapping. But hopefully they'll swap, because swapping in this environment is bad. So anyway, system resources, your agent VMs, statuses here, listed here, and your advanced settings will go here. Very rarely you have to tweak any of this stuff, but it's there just in case you need to. So this is basically it. I just wanted to go through the configuration tab to let you know what this means. You probably look at a lot of stuff wondering what is it, but at least now you have some idea. In the next video, what we'll go over is how to create new virtual machines. So come back. Please subscribe if you think this video was helpful. Subscribe to my channel and continue to follow me, and at the end of this series we should have a full working lab with a lot of toys and VMware goodies within it to play around with, and you should know how to work them all. So right now, I'll see you later. Thanks for watching.